Coming up on Kochie's Business Builders, the homegrown EV company that wants to give Tesla a run for its money. How do you fall back in love with your business? An entrepreneur has the answer. Plus, meet the Aussie whose luxurious loungewear is taking over the world. G'day and welcome to a new episode of Kochie's Business Builders, the show where we bring you all the latest tips, tricks and success stories from the nation's small businesses. Thanks for joining us. First up, we're taking a ride into the world of electric vehicles with an Aussie company planning to take on Tesla, would you believe, and bring Australia to the forefront of EV adoption. True EV is a startup on a mission, but they need help getting the word out. So we're sending KBB's PR and marketing expert, Samantha Dieback, founder of PR Hub, to pay them a visit.
Well, thanks for having me, Jason.
Oh, you're welcome, Sam.
Look, I'm really excited to learn more about True EV and the journey that you're on in the EV market in Australia. So let's start there. Tell me about True EV and where it began.
The founders of True EV have been having a long career in car sales. They started to learn that things were about to change significantly. The world was changing in terms of cars, the types of cars on the road, the colours even, but the way they're sold, the way that they're brought in and what cars actually offer people. So after a lot of research, really worked out that electric vehicles, smart electric vehicles, new energy vehicles were the future, and True EV was born.
So it sounds like you and the team are really committed to that idea of breaking down the barriers for people to understand what EV is about and have EV ownership in Australia, and I guess the benefits as well. So things like saving money and reducing emissions. Yeah. You know, what have you found so far in the journey to date?
Yeah, it's more than just selling cars. But there's a lot of misinformation in market.
What else is out there in the market, you think, right now where people are getting a bit of misinformation?
People talk about range anxiety, that if I buy an electric vehicle, I am not going to get to the supermarket and I'm going to be stranded. That's obviously not the case. Some of the brands that we've seen and that we're bringing in, that, you know, the range is up to 700 kilometres for a charge. So you see the technology coming through very quickly, faster charging, longer range, better quality vehicles.
What are some of the other things that you're doing in the business to bring the EV market to life in Australia?
Well, obviously the uptake is slow. So in Australia, there's 1.2 million cars sold each year, and only 7% of those were EVs. And the three largest selling cars were utes, right? So there's a lot going on in the space, not so much with EVs, but we think it is about to explode. So we're going to see Australia's uptake from 7.2%, probably up to 50% by 2030 to meet Australia's emissions standards.
Jason, it's been great to hear a little bit about True EV, and you guys are definitely on an exciting mission to really bring that category to life in Australia. I think we can focus in a little bit more on dispelling some of the myths and also talking about how do we create awareness and education about this space in the market.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
G'day folks, Tracy Sheen, the Digital Guide, back with another tech tip. Now, video. Let's be real, a lot of us do not like creating video content. So AI is helping us out now with platforms like HeyGen, Synesia, Veed. There are a bunch of them out there where you now go and write what it is that you are wanting from your video. You then choose an avatar, choose the language, and AI will create your video for you in a matter of moments. And yes, you can even create your own AI avatar to represent your company. What do you think? Should I create a Tracy bot? Let me know what you think, and I'll see you around for another tech tip.
Coming up, online businesses are booming, but what's behind the trend? Serial entrepreneur Alec Ramsey has some ideas. Plus, falling out of love with your business? We show you how to rebuild the romance. Welcome back to Kochie's Business Builders. Today we're diving into the booming world of online businesses. New research from IBIS World has revealed a surge in online businesses in Australia, fueled by the pandemic and driven by shifting consumer behaviours. Revenue from online businesses has jumped over 18% to $56 billion in 2023, and some 93,000 Aussies are now employed by businesses that only exist online. Joining me to unpack the findings is serial entrepreneur Alec Ramsey, founder of Florally, Air and Idea Crunch. Alec, great to have you on board. What's driving this surge in online businesses, do you think?
I think that the obvious answer, which is not the most interesting one, is an increase in demand from consumers. But I think what's really driving the increase in the number of businesses that are online is the availability of tools. To be perfectly honest, you've got platforms like Shopify that allow people to start businesses easily. You know, big firms like Google and Meta have whole new smart campaign tools that allow people to run advertising campaigns without all of the technical difficulty that used to exist. And now you've got AI that allows you to create content at a scale we've never been able to do before. So, yeah.
It is amazing, those tools, isn't it? So what sort of opportunities does it open up?
I think really the biggest difference for an entrepreneur wanting to start a company is that it allows you to get involved in every facet of your business because each individual action takes less time. So if you're creating content before, setting up a photo shoot would take, weeks of planning. Now you can sit there and you can do all the photos you need for a website on your own, and it will take hours. And the ability to get involved in all of these different facets of your business mean you understand a lot more about what's going on. And so when you hire people and scale, you know exactly how to do it.
And the wonderful thing about this, I reckon, is it's being driven by consumers. So how should you react to that customer behaviour?
You've got this whole generation of Gen Zs that have now started making more money, and so a lot of the consumer behaviours align with those changes in demographics as well. They have different expectations in delivery, and there's great ways that you can really take advantage of that. For example, it's really easy to think of delivery costs to an e-commerce business as being a detriment, but they're actually one of the best things because imagine you're in a shopping mall and you're walking around. It's really easy to go to one store and buy a shirt, one other store buy a pair of pants, somewhere else buy a pair of shoes. Because there are delivery costs online, it means you can't as easily jump from one business to another because you'll incur these constant costs. And so what it means is that consumers focus way more on buying from one store. And so if you can crack that nut on delivery and on trust, then you can get a much higher average order value because they're less likely to shop around.
Oh, that's interesting. IBIS also emphasised competitive pricing, product range, and site reputation as really big drivers of success here. So how do you differentiate yourself from everybody else who's online?
Yeah, look, I think the one word that kind of summarises everything you said is trust. You really need to be able to build trust everywhere through the customer experience. So you want to try and find ways to scalably meet customers on places like social media, and then once they've reached your site, to deliver all of those trust signals that allow them to buy. So like to give you an example for our perfume company, Air, we make luxury perfumes that are inspired by famous fragrances. And these fragrances that we're replicating, normally would be $200, $300, $400. And we sell them for $30 to $50. And at face value, if you're a consumer, you hear that and you'd think, well, this can't be as good, right?
Yeah, too good to be true.
Exactly. But to be able to address that trust concern, we knew from the outset our fragrances had to be made in France, in Grasse, in the same place that all luxury fragrances are made, because that's a trust signal. We knew that getting media mentions on a website was the most important thing we could do, so we contacted a PR firm straight away when we launched. We knew that all of these things mattered. We offer guaranteed returns, no questions asked, free shipping over 3 items, and so all of these things come together to make a kind of flywheel so that consumers get there and they go, oh, well, this is basically a risk-free purchase, why not try it?
Wow, that is such good advice. Where's the future going?
I think it's going to change a lot. People will obviously buy more and more online. The delivery experience will matter. I think for business owners, there is no single piece of advice I could give that would be applicable in a year or two from now because the circumstances change. You need to be able to constantly keep up with times. That means just being interested in AI, what it can do, being interested in all the changes in platforms. And as long as you're on top of that, then you can stay ahead of things and be successful.
Alec, I reckon that's the most powerful bit of advice. You've got to be interested. Great to catch up again.
Yeah.
All the very best. Good to see you.
Welcome to Small Business Help Desk. I'm Anita Sarkar from Sell Anything Online, and I'm here to answer your burning questions. Sarah at Active Admin and Business Solutions asks, how do you fall back in love with your business? Sarah, that is such a great question because a lot of small business owners feel exactly the same way. The first thing that I'm going to ask you to do is figure out what made you fall out of love with your business in the first place. Is it cash flow, the daily grind, clients? Is it loneliness? And then I want you to figure out what the ideal business situation looks like to you. After you've kind of pinpointed where you are now and where you want to be, I want you to think of an action plan. And that action plan has nothing to do with goals and everything to do with daily tasks to get you from point A to point B. Each one of those tasks should be in your calendar as a time block. If it's loneliness that you're feeling, I'd love you to join a group of like-minded business owners in group mentoring or group coaching. Another thing that you can do is create mini events throughout the year that you're excited about and you can look forward to. This could be a customer meet and greet, a product launch, or just simply meeting with other business owners. Falling back in love with your business is an ongoing process. Don't be so hard on yourself. Take it one step at a time.
After the break, slip into comfort and style as we're joined by Vanessa Sophia, founder of the luxurious sleepwear brand Ginger Lily. Welcome back to Kochie's Business Builders, where we spotlight entrepreneurs changing the way we do business. Today we're joined by Vanessa Sophia, the mastermind behind Ginger Lily Sleepwear, a brand setting new benchmarks for luxury nightwear. Vanessa, welcome. You've got a great journey. Tell us about the household you grew up in and what you learnt from mum and dad, because they're in the same business.
Absolutely. I was born and bred in the rag trade, as they used to call it back then. So my parents ran a children's wear clothing company, and they did everything from, manufacturing and design right through to retail, where they had, 30-odd retail stores. So it was a, end-to-end line, and I learnt so much because that's where you learn 360 degrees about the business.
From those days as a kid, what did you pick up from mum and dad that has been really important in you developing your own business?
Good work ethic, obviously, loving what you do. My dad used to always say to me, love what you do and the rest will come.
But not only the family business, you went and worked for Prada.
I did.
For 3 years.
Yep.
So, family business in children's clothing to high-end fashion.
Yep.
What was that like?
Oh, look, that was amazing, an amazing chapter of my life. Basically, I felt the need to go off and do my own things. So took off and worked for Prada in their showroom, where I was basically working with department stores, buyers.
So what have you taken from Prada into Ginger Lily?
Yeah. Just really understanding how big department stores work, how they roll it out to their tier stores, about their key pieces going into their top tier stores, that type of thing, and building relationships. I think relationships is everything.
Had you always had in the back of your mind that you wanted to start your own business?
When I decided to come back from Milan, I think it was because I wanted to settle down in Australia, because I was living the dream, but the missing piece was my family was here. I thought, I want to go back and live back home. At the time, because it was well before, the loungewear boom, it was either puppy dogs and, big loud prints, which wasn't my thing, or sort of lingerie-looking sleepwear, which again wasn't my vibe. So I sort of thought, look, there's a real niche for sleepwear that, back at the time, my phrase used to be, you could open the door in, if, just sort of be happy to be seen in this, sophisticated sleepwear.
So what were the initial challenges you found in starting Ginger Lily?
Look, I think at the end of the day, as far as production and garments, there weren't a lot of obstacles because I knew what it took to start a business, but there's always going to be problems.
Within the business, what value set do you prioritise?
I can answer that easily, and I don't think it's just the fashion business. For me, it's relationships and fairness. And
by the sound of it, you learned that at Prada, that relationship side, because the DJs, big department stores, are really your anchor customer,
yep.
Isn't it?
No, absolutely. I'm excited to say we're just in Brown Thomas now in in Ireland and, Robinson's in Singapore. So yes, I did learn that at Prada.
What's the future for Ginger Lily?
Yeah, I really want to continue on that international growth. I feel like Ginger Lily, I'm really happy that it's a household name in Australia, but I really feel like the product itself is just made, for export markets like the UK and Europe.
When you look back, the one thing you're proudest of?
Oh, I'd have to say without a doubt, it's the fact that I've been able to master the juggle between raising a family and having Ginger Lily. I always say she's my third child, so I think that makes me really proud.
What's the one bit of advice you'd pass on to other entrepreneurs who are starting out?
I think I need to pass on that same advice that I was given. Whatever you do, love the journey, because there's going to be ups, downs. Every business owner knows it's a roller coaster.
It's great advice.
Yeah.
What a success story. So, some great insights. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. After the break, Samantha Dieback returns to reveal how True EV can create marketing magic and boost its brand. Welcome back to Kochie's Business Builders. It's time to check in with PR and marketing expert Samantha Dieback and Jason Clark, the Chief Executive of True EV.
So we've had a bit of a discussion, Jason, around the background to True EV and the exciting journey that you and the team are on in bringing the EV market to life in Australia. And from a PR perspective, there were three things there that stood out to me that I think we can touch on and talk a little bit more in detail now. From True EV's perspective, as a new and exciting emerging brand, it's very much starting with that brand narrative and story. So a great way to start with this is to actually bring the people together and unpack the history of the business, each of you sharing some points of view in and around what the business means to you and what its purpose is and where you're taking it with the vision, and then start to craft the stories that we take to market. And you might even want to engage a content writer or a brand strategist to help you sit down and do some what are called discovery sessions, where you can sit down, formulate an agenda, record it and transcribe the notes so you don't miss anything.
Yeah, I think that's important. The messaging, we're a new business. We've only been going a year. The messaging and what we're finding is changing all of the time, and this whole market is shifting really rapidly.
Yeah, and I think something within that piece as well, just to add, is that when you're working on that brand narrative and that messaging and that positioning, is to make sure that everybody in the business is across it, from the person that answers the phone to the person in sales or the person doing accounts, so that whenever they're talking to people about the brand, it's spot on. Yeah,
no, that's helpful. At True EV, we have to live the values of the company.
So once you've built that brand narrative and story, I think that, the great opportunity for True EV is that you've got this umbrella brand, if you like, this company brand called True EV, and then you're also bringing in some of the best international brands in the EV space. And so you're always got to think about the PR strategies as two separate things. There's True EV as a brand and building that and making sure that consumers know about True EV. And then also there's the PR strategy for the individual brands themselves.
Yeah, that's a real challenge for us. So obviously with the vision of True EV, that we've got to provide that education, support and the infrastructure for a high quality EV lifestyle. But at the same time, we've got to bring in well-known global brands at the cutting edge of technology and lifestyle into Australia and promote that brand as well under True EV.
When we were talking earlier in the car, we touched on the fact that there are some amazing benefits for consumers to actually adopt EVs, and we've talked a little bit about the fact that in Australia there's certainly a rise in the sales of EVs, but there's a long way to go in terms of the global market. Speaking to you and learning more about True EV today has really stood out to me that you've got this amazing opportunity to own that space and be the market leader in Australia when it comes to all things EVs.
Yeah, you're dead right, Sam. That's amazing. I love that. That's exactly how we see it. Yeah, thank you. I think that is our opportunity.
And building on that opportunity, and I'd like to come back to the team, one of the things that I think would be great for True EV is to have a look at the team and who you would like to use as key spokespeople in the media. Because you've got so many people with different experience, there's a real opportunity there to tap into some of the expertise, because people buy from people. And there's something magical around that human connection in the business.
I think you're exactly right. We've got this rich experience, but we take it for granted.
I have to say, I came here saying I'm not really a car person, but I think you guys might have changed my mind.
I think you're going to leave a great car person.
I think you're going to get a sale. Jason, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Sam. Been great having you here. Loved your insights. Enjoyed having you around and showing you the cars.
Samantha has some great advice there for Jason, and we wish him luck. Remember to check out True EV if you're in the market for an electric vehicle. And don't forget, if you're looking for tips of the latest news or expert advice, you can find them online 24/7 at kochiesbusinessbuilders.com.au, or follow Kochie's Biz on Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta and X, and we'll see you next time. Next week on Kochie's Business Builders, a family business with a legacy for safety and security needs a succession plan. From clicks to conversions, we unpack the latest e-commerce trends. Plus, we step inside Biopac's green evolution with founder Gary Smith.